Hello, I am Lisa Johnson.
I'm Kate Arhar, and we are
Our Turf Football's podcast for this Tuesday coming live. Well, Kate, training camp Saturday, all 32 teams will hold a back-together Saturday. And I think you and I were talking about this, that this, I think, will be the first time all 32 teams are going to open camp at the same time.
Yeah, when I saw my Browns were opening camp Saturday, I'm like, wait, when did the Cowboys open camp? I missed it because the Cowboys are usually the first team to get back to going. And they're all going back together this year. I think everyone's anxious and excited after COVID and just the mess and the uncertainty of last season, trying to get ready to play, that all the teams were like, the minute we can get camp going, we're going to get it going.
I think so too, and another PR thing from the NFL to exploit all 32 teams to be a sponsored by Gatorade to start everybody off on a Saturday and get everybody psyched up. But I mean, it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. I know everybody else's Twitter line, social media is going to be fired up for this. It's going to be good to see football back on the timelines.
Well, it is, and I think it also, from a timing standpoint, it also helps that tonight is Game 6 of the NBA Finals. If Milwaukee wins, it's over. If not, in a couple days, they'll head back to Phoenix. Either way, the NBA season will be done right as NFL training camp is starting. So for the people other than you and I who actually hop around and pay attention sport to sport, they can put base basketball aside for this year and they can get right into football gear.
Well, and I think that brings us to the training camp talk of breaking down some of the divisions on these teams that need to improve. We started off certainly, both of us in the AFC East. I mean, AFC, we certainly can talk AFC football where, I know we've talked about the Dolphins in a couple weeks. We've talked about the Browns, but if you look at the AFC East, we all knew we were chasing Buffalo. We all, what New England and Bill's going to do. But, what team do you think needs to start off camp and have a very good camp?
I think it's got to be the Jets, right? With only 2 wins last year, they've bailed on Darnold. They're starting, a brand new offense they're going to have to put in. They got a new quarterback, depending on who ends up winning the starting job. I don't even know that it's decided yet. So I think we will have a much better idea of what the Jets are capable of coming out of camp. The other teams in that division, I feel like I already know what I'm going to get from them when the season starts. Mm-hmm. It's the Jets that I think need to get my attention.
All right, well, let's switch to the AFC North. You'll know all about this one. So,
yeah. So, I mean, in the AFC North, I think really the secret for the Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers is all just going to be healthy. They're very good teams that are coming back. They just need to get through camp and be healthy. I will say for my Browns, it's amazing as a fan to have a second-year head coach, a second year, third year, but a second year, the quarterback is coming back again in the same offense. We're not learning anything new. We're doing what the Ravens and Steelers have been doing for years. The Bengals, on the other hand, lost Joe Burrow last year to injury. Mm-hmm. He's going to be coming back, and they got him some weapons, some receivers, and some players he's familiar with from LSU that are coming to Cincinnati. And so camp is going to be really important if the Bengals are going to make any kind of a move this year, even just to get to 8-8 and just to prove maybe to their fans that they made the right choice with Burrow. And they're going to really have to do something in training camp.
Well, and then you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're riding another year with Ben. They're doing some plug and plays to me, side Melvin Ingram today to bolster up that defense. So I think that, they're almost like the Band-Aid of the group to me. It's like they're doing this plug and play until they can kind of get an identity, because I certainly have to think that this is, Ben's going into the elder years. So to me,
yeah.
I think
staying healthy. Yeah. Staying healthy is huge for them. Cause like you said, they're plug and play. If they lose any of their, key components and they are going to be in trouble. So they have got to stay healthy while they're trying to, maybe that's what they're trying to do is milk one more season out of Ben and look for, somebody in the draft this year. They've got enough picks for next year's draft to move up if they want to get their next quarterback. They didn't get one last year. They didn't really make a move for one.
And I think that's probably what they're kind of looking for, down the lines of this future. So I think they're going to try to just do what they can this year, make a good run and then kind of see where they go with Ben at the end of the season. That'll bring us to the AFC South. you and I have to agree. It has to be the Jaguars here, right?
Absolutely. Again. I feel like the Jaguars for like so many years were that team that I kept saying they're underrated. They're going to make a run. They're going to surprise all of us. And then 3 wins, 1 win. They're just, and now, Urban Meyer's down there and they got Sunshine starting, right?
Right.
They got Trevor under center. I think all eyes, if for no other reason than their new head coach and their new quarterback, all eyes are going to be on that training camp. But they have got a lot of work to do to get ready for the season.
Yeah, and I think so too. And I think they're the ones going to look to have a dynamic training camp going in. New, like you said, new quarterback, new coach with Urban. To see if he can handle pressure. I mean, that's one of the knocks that he's had on him. Is he when he was leading the Gators, health wise, he's one of these coaches. I think he takes this whole thing on his back. I think he's one that just puts everything into it. And honestly, we've talked about it before. I swear coaches age 10 years. It's like the president of the United States. Yes. I mean, they look fresh and ready to go. Good Lord, you hit them after a couple seasons. They just look like they're, so,
yeah. It'll be fun to watch him. I'm a Buckeye fan, so we could see the toll it was taking on his health when he stepped down and put Ryan Day in charge in Columbus, and then went and did TV for a couple of years. I kept telling people he'll be back. He's going to get healthy and he'll be back. And while there is a lot of pressure on NFL coaches, it's different from college because he's not responsible for the players. He gets who they give him. He doesn't have to go sit in somebody's living room and convince them to send their kids to. He doesn't have to do recruiting. Granted, at Florida and Ohio State both, just the name of the schools, right, it pretty much did its own recruiting. But I think part of that pressure is off him. He's just got to take the pieces that the front office gives him, and they've done a nice job with quarterback, and that's where it all starts, right? So if he can just make some baby steps, improve, get them maybe 5 or 6 wins this year. He's got a quarterback who's, I think, lost 1 game in his entire college career. Losing is not something he's familiar with. So we'll see how he handles the adversity that he's going to face in the NFL as a rookie. But they'll be I hope a fun team to watch at least. So many storylines there. It'll be at least interesting for a change.
Yeah, I think the Colts are backing that up too. I think the Colts will be the second one that's going to need to try to make it a president. I think the Titans are who the Titans are. I still think they're going to be ready to go. They're going to be a tough team. They're just one of these teams that I think that is like flying under the radar. You're not hearing too much about Tannehill. He got shunned at the SB Awards, kind of just nobody's kind of recognizing this guy for what he was. And sometimes I'm okay with that as a fan, sometimes with teams just flying under the radar and not getting the spotlight. So, you got Derrick Henry back, you got Tannehill. I just solely think that the Titans are going to be the team to beat in that division with, like you said, I think the Bengals and they'll have the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even need to talk about the Houston Texans. Sorry, Texan fans. They are what they are. And I don't care how good or bad a training camp they have, until they figure out what's going on in that hot mess of a locker room and that hot mess of a front office, they have no chance of winning the division, and it doesn't really matter what they do in training camp. I'm not interested in seeing it because I just don't know that they have the right people in place to fix their problems. Maybe next year.
Nothing sexy about the Houston Texans right now. JJ Watt's gone. Nothing Houston can say is
and they were
sexy
so
right
close.
Now.
They were like this close to have, and then bam, to the basement.
Yeah, it just all came
that's
down.
The NFL.
All right, we're going to switch over. Let's go. Let's talk a little bit on the NFC East. You got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Redskins. I'm sorry, folks, the Washington football team. I'm old school. It's going to take me a little while to get that out of my blood.
I know. Who'd have thought they'd have won their division last year with 7 wins? I think they'll come back stronger. The Eagles are who I'm really looking forward to, though, in training camp. Again, they finished last in that division. And when I look at them on paper, I just feel like they have way too much talent to have played as poorly as they did last year. They need to come together as a team. They need to gel. And maybe this second year with all the changes that they've been through and stuff will be what they need. But they really need to come out of training camp swinging.
I thought the same thing. Quarterback to me is going to be a huge thing for them. Whole new coaching coming in. It's going to be interesting to kind of see. They got the Heisman Trophy winner with Hurts again. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think to me, they're the team I'm going to look at in training camp. The Cowboys are the Cowboys with Dak. I think, you're going to get the same thing with the Cowboys. So I think they'll be right there, like like that. I said the Washington football team, Ron Rivera, ton of respect for this guy. I mean, he's trying to change his culture, and I think they certainly will do that with him. I like I said, I respect him. I think that, and Ryan Fitzpatrick there, I mean, you're starting off good, with their hirings they've done, trying to get, everything up. Daniel Jones with the Giants, to me, we've talked about this on the show again. I know we pounded the quarterback talk with Daniel Jones. This is the year for me. It's you step up or you shut up. This is it for me for him.
Absolutely.
And you certainly can't cut them off. And, Michelle Jinks, I know will agree with me because she just shot us a little message saying, hey, guys, I'm one of the Giants. So I thought we gave her Cowboys some love. I mean, like I said, Dak's. I think Dak's solid.
He'll be fine.
I wanted the Cowboys to re-sign him. I thought they'd have been, stupid to let him walk. And, I'm glad Jerry came around. So, but we'll certainly watch out for the Giants, Michelle. There's certainly somebody that we'll definitely keep an eye on. But then let's go to, what should we do next? The NFC South, maybe?
Sure.
The Panthers, Buccaneers, Falcons, and the Saints. This is an interesting division to me.
Yeah.
Obviously clear cut. Buccaneers are the team to beat in this division with Mr. Brady.
Yep.
Saints to me will be the team to watch on this one.
Yeah. Even though they did so well last year, because some of the other teams that we've talked about that we want to watch are the teams that finished last that need to make an improvement. But the Saints need to figure out what they're going to do without Drew Brees, and I don't know what they're going to do. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I'll be enjoying training camp. I also use training camp to make decisions about maybe some of my late round picks for fantasy football. You know what I mean? And
really?
So I do. And I want to see if, some of the weapons that the offense and for the Saints has are as good this year as they were last year. It'll be interesting. That's a team to watch. The Bucs are going to be the Bucs.
What's funny is being AFC women that we are, you just got me thinking about fantasy. I know so much about our divisions in the AFC that I'm trying to think. I think the last couple drafts I've gone AFC players the first couple rounds.
Yeah, because that's who I'm more familiar with. That's who I'm watching every week. I'm watching who my team's playing, who the people in my division are playing. I'm watching who I've got coming up on my schedule. So there's usually one NFC division that I worry about, and that's the one my Browns have to play. So I keep an eye on them. But for the other three,
funny. Do you tend to lean towards the divisions or do you just play like all the experts say you play and take running backs in the first round, which is totally stupid, and to go and take quarterbacks like, well, I did take Drew Brees one year, I remember.
You know what? It depends on if it's a PPR league or not. What I do is I actually have an Excel spreadsheet. Don't mock me. Where I download all the players and their projected points for the year, because I found a website that not only gives you projected points, it gives you projected rushing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns. And then I have another tab that has the scoring for my league. I enter in what our scoring is, and then I project what they're going to do. And it's never a running back in the first round for me. It's either, depending on where I'm picking, it's either the best quarterback, the best tight end, or the best wide receiver. Because in a lot of these positions, the jump between, there were years where if you got Tom Brady, there wasn't another quarterback taken for 2 rounds. Or if you got Gronk, or if you got, now it's Kansas City, tight end, brother is a center in Philly.
Kelce?
Kelce. If you got Travis Kelce, there wasn't another tight end going for 3 rounds, because there's such a huge talent gap from a fantasy perspective that for running backs, everyone's grabbing them. And I'm like, all right, who's the best not running back? Because I'll get 2 average running backs if I can have the highest scoring wide receiver, quarterback, or tight end in the league. You will more than make up those points. And I'm in 10 and 12 team leagues, and I'm always picking like 8 to 12. So I'm like, there's no running backs left that I want now. I'm going to be the one to start going after somebody else. It's in the last couple of years have been fun because Brady's not going in the first round of my drafts. They're still taking Aaron Rodgers or somebody else. And then Brady still ends up putting the numbers up that he puts. It's like nobody believes he's going to have as good a year as he did. And then last year he wins a Super Bowl. So that's what I love about this time of year is I get more information because everyone's desperate for football, right? So there's more information available about every team. And then as the season gets started, my local stuff is all my team, my division, and then who our opponents are coming up. And I have to go searching for information, which is part of why not only do I cover the AFC North for Archer football, I also do the NFC South, because I'm like, this was the division I knew the least about. And it made me look at the Saints, the Bucks, the Saints, the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Falcons made me go look for info. Like, I learned that division because I was covering it. And I think we all, Sonia and Dana have an NFC home team, so they took an AFC division, and then you did the same thing I did. You took your AFC division, and you took an NFC.
Like you said, I know
that one.
I know. Like you said that, it was so familiar. I'm like, I really probably got to try to broaden my horizon and start thinking about maybe, paying attention. And another thing that Michelle brought up is a very good point off your sleepers was we're going to get a full training camp in with preseason. Yes. So I think it's also going to help us in our fantasy leagues, because you're going to be able to see players now that you'll be like, oh, that's a note. He might be a fantasy sleeper for me in round 3 or 4 or 5, 6, whichever one you guys, take your fantasy sleepers at, So me, I just, like I said, I just go full throttle. I don't even I know the quarterback I'm picking, and I just go from there. I feel like one of those NFL players that have the board behind me that says, I'm taking the next best player. I'm one of those ones that could easily auto draft because it gives you the next best player. That's kind of what I do. I
take my first round guy, and then I take next best player, whoever's got the most points of, projected points for rounds 2 and 3. And then 4 to 7 are when I kind of do my Browns homer picks. I try to get a Browns receiver. I try to get a Browns running back. But it's hard for me because I'm in 5 leagues, right? And 4 of them are with local Cleveland people, which is, it's almost, in the past, it's been easier, I think, for me to win those leagues because they're all such homers. They're taking Browns players early. And I'm like, listen, I wouldn't have taken Baker Mayfield in fantasy until this year. This year, depending on where I'm at, he might be worth taking. But like in prior years, wasn't touching him, and they're grabbing all these players, and I'm like, okay, you take them. I purposely stay away from Steelers players. Can't do it. Can't do it. I've had a Raven or 2 on my team, but I stay away from them. So
I'll do my division rivals like on bye weeks, but that's it. I'm the same way. It's the same way for me. It's hard to pick a Jet player. It's hard to pick a Bills player. It's hard to pick a Patriots player.
It is.
Even when Tom was there. Yeah. Even if Tom was the rated, I still wouldn't pick him. So it was just something there. We're going to switch it up. Let's go to the AFC West. Now, this division's tough for me. You got the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. I mean, I'd have to go the 49ers because I just don't know what's going to happen with Garoppolo and Trace Lance there. So I think if I'm looking at this division, I'm looking at let the 49ers to see what they're going to do with this quarterback issue. So to me, that's the team in this one. I'm going to be interested to see what training camp brings them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Cardinals. I want to see if Larry Fitzgerald still looks good. I want to see what's going on with Kyler Murray. I've expected really good things from him the last 2 years that he's been in the league, and I feel like he's a little bit underperforming, and so maybe he's another one for me, like you said with Daniel Jones. I need to see something from him this year or he can go. Even though they traded the farm to get him, he's got enough weapons that they should be doing better than 6 wins. So, and Cardinals fans aren't gonna wait around forever for him. They'll start, referring to him as that baseball player that's playing football, and it'll get ugly fast. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Cardinals training camp looks like.
That'd be interesting because, like I said, I think they're like you said, they're going to be another team that I think they've got the nucleus of what they want. They'll have, like I said, a full tent with Kyler.
Yep.
I'm still
they just need to gel. They need to grow.
I'm just and Seattle. I mean, what are you going to do with Seattle? I mean, you had all that talk about Wilson.
Seattle. They're gonna be what they're gonna be fine.
Seattle always starts bad. It's always like they'll have those bad losses, and then in the end, it seems. But I'll tell you what, I think they're going to have a good. And they always played the Cardinals. It seems like that's one of the games, and Dana's talked about it before. It just seems like that's the team that, regardless of the records, they always struggle against. And especially this year, it seems like with the Cardinals coming on, they were how they are, and what in another year under Kyle Murray's belt. I'm really interested to see those two battle it out, really.
I mean, in general, it's one of Dana always says it's the toughest division in football. I don't know that I agree with that, but what I do agree with is I think it's in a lot of ways the most balanced, because when they play their head-to-head games, you don't know who's going to win. Like you said, Arizona gives Seattle a game every time. There is no, team there's no Jaguars, there's no Bengals, there's no Browns in private year, no Jets. There's no team that everyone just beats up on all the time. These are four, the 49ers were in it not that long ago. They are real close to being back in it again. Any one of these four teams could be healthy and play well and make a run at winning that division and getting deep into the playoffs. And it's one of the few divisions that I feel really doesn't have a weak link. So you're right. The 49ers have to figure out their quarterback situation, but then they're right back where they were. And that's a dangerous division.
Yeah, it's going to be a very competitive division. Like Dana always likes it.
Yeah.
So let me go. I got one of these when I wanted to kind of do last.
You want to do AFC North?
Yeah,
AFC West?
Yeah,
I don't think we did West.
I did not, because I wanted to save this one for last, because I wanted to kind of bring this one in with the NFC North, because I think some changes are going to happen. And this is just my opinion on it. I honestly really think the Denver Broncos are going to have Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. I really think that Denver's starting. I just, for some reason, I'm seeing some things, and the news broke today, which is, I don't think is really old news, because I think everybody knew that
we
did, because we talked about it on the phone. We even said
on our first show of the season, we were like, it's not about the money. John, he's unhappy about something. It's not about the money.
And the thing is I don't think that the Panthers brass is going to move. I mean, today we found out, which isn't news, because I think I had already known that they had given him a contract. I didn't know the money. And I think the money was a guarantee, where I heard, got into a discussion with somebody today, and they were talking about the guarantee. Oh, he just wants the guarantee money. He doesn't upfront money, which is okay. But I still told him, I still think it goes, he doesn't want to play for them. It's point blank to me. And the team that makes the sense to me is the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry. I just for some reason, that's why I kind of wanted to kind of gel these two divisions together, because I think you're going to see a swap. And when I look at their division, which clearly used to be the black and blue division, I mean, everybody called it that. When the Bears would play when the Bears would go to Green Bay, and that was a beat 'em up football team. Now you have both these teams, to me, that are just kind of still trying to find their identity. The Lions the same way. I mean, honestly, the Vikings to me are the only team that has the same nucleus, the same coaching, the same thing. So clearly, to me, the Vikings are going to be the team. I'm watching all three of these teams. What's happening? Everybody's watching Green Bay to see what happens. And the Bears and the Lions, what are they going to do? So I think I could put three teams in the watch category for training camp with this one, leading off with the Packers.
I completely agree. So what we saw when Tom Brady left New England, as he was getting older, is Tom Brady went south. He don't play home games in the snow. He plays very few games in the snow when he travels. And I can envision Aaron Rodgers doing the same thing, going to Denver. You're going to have Mile High Stadium. You're going to acclimate to that. Anyone who's never been to Denver, who does not understand the effect that altitude has on you, needs to either be quiet or go try it, because I'm telling you, it's insane. He will play really well at home there. He will have less games to deal with if he does travel to areas that are snowy. This could extend his career. I predicted that you're right. If he does go to Denver, he could put up career numbers there. He could, because he's the kind of quarterback that will make middle-of-the-road receivers better. His ball placement is still as good as it's always been. He'll gain some distance from the altitude, and I don't know if that's where he'll go, but if you are right, I predict that that team will make a run for something, because I think we'll see this whole resurgence in Rodgers' career, just like we saw with Brady. I'm not saying Brady was all Tampa Bay, but I don't know if he'd have gone to another winter areas team, that he would have gone to the Super Bowl the way he did with Tampa Bay. He did really well. Michelle figured out how to put a comment on the screen. Girl, you teach me how to do that.
Look at that. We can make comments.
Oh, so Rodgers would only be in Peyton's shadow for a couple years, and only till he wins a Super Bowl. Peyton's shadow is larger in Indianapolis than it is in Denver. In Denver, they love him because the kids who are too young to remember the John Elway, who's the Antichrist, years, got a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. He's really, I think, more of a shadow for anyone who goes to Indy right now, right?
Right.
So I don't think Aaron will have a problem playing in Denver. What Denver's going to wind up doing then is becoming that place where the veteran quarterbacks go for their last couple years, because they have not had any luck developing someone from scratch. And until they figure out how to do that, this makes a lot of sense for them. Because I think the more I'm talking myself into it, Lisa, the more I think about his options.
And I thought about Manning. When Manning went there, and listen, I'm sorry, Manning threw up some ducks that last couple years. I'm serious. And I mean, I'm sorry. I talked to everybody, some of those Monday night football games that he was playing, those balls were doing this, but they still had air on them because of that altitude. And I'm telling you, it just, and I'm sure there might be a surprise team. It's just something I'm thinking about talking quarterbacks. It just, if he went anywhere in the AFC, it would be to Denver to me. That just makes the most sense to me. So I kind of just thought about it, and I was just like, because clearly after the news broke today, that division is all blown up with them. I clearly thought the Vikings are going to take it, but I really think he'll go. And it also, can you see the division where you have Mahomes and Rodgers going at it? Seriously? I mean,
last year we had Brady and Breeze, right? So now we're going to have Mahomes and Rodgers. It would be insane, and I think it would put a little fear into the hearts of Chiefs fans if Aaron Rodgers came to their division. It might make them calm down a little bit. They have a little bit of attitude. Not going to say it's not deserved. They have an excellent football team. But it might make them step back and pause a little bit about winning their division as easily as they have in the last few years.
And especially if the Chiefs with Justin Herbert out there, you could have a division with 3 top 5 quarterbacks in it easily. So
are the Chiefs, if Rodgers goes to Denver, do the Chiefs Broncos games become Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football games?
Absolutely.
Are those getting flexed to prime time?
Absolutely. To see Rodgers and Mahomes going up.
I want to see it.
See? That's what Denver made sense to me when I thought about the AFC. I would honestly, that's the only thing that said, I can't think of any NFC team that they would want to trade into. It just seems like the AFC makes sense. Just like with Brady, get Brady out of the AFC.
Brett Favre went to Minnesota. I mean, I've given up trying to understand how these teams trade someone, not even in their same conference, trade some of these players in their own division. I'm like, how is that even a thing? I mean, and if you're signing as a free agent, there needs to be some kind of no compete in your contract. Is when you're a free agent, you can't sign with another team in our division. It's just insane that these things happen. So I'm never going to say never, but I feel like he's going to want to go to a team that he's not going to want to go to, like the Panthers. He's not going to want to go to a mediocre team. He's going to want to go to a team that has enough weapons that he can take them to the next level. He can take them to the playoffs, and he's got a legit shot. And Rodgers gives the Broncos a legit shot to be in the playoff conversation and deep into the playoffs.
So tell me my theory makes sense now, because seriously.
It does. I've talked myself into it. You've done it. The good thing, if Dana and Sonia were here, they would be pointing out all the flaws in our theory. But you know what? You've talked me into it. I'm in.
I mean, it made sense because I was just thinking about Manning and the arm strength. Not that Aaron, like I said, not needs it, because, like I said, it might kind of be a hindrance because he's got still a very good arm. But I mean, all those Hail Mary passes that he goes in those last games, I'm sure he's going to have some altitude. So I'm just like, he's not going to
do the goalpost. He's going to have to ratchet that back a little bit.
And, the effort that he's going to have to put in, he won't have to put much effort into it at all.
Yeah. And who wouldn't want that kind of a gig as you're on the downside of your career?
Right.
Let's give him something a little easy to finish his last few years in the league.
Jeez. And then going back to the Rams, and a couple of the running backs that we have, Cam Akers, suffered a torn Achilles today, so he's out for the 2021 season. And Michelle actually had kind of talked about the Rams a little bit on just how far they have dropped since going to the Super Bowl. I mean, this was a team 2 years ago that you thought we were going to see a lot of. And they've, now they switch quarterbacks. Now their running back gets hurt. Some of the God love Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore. They still want to play.
Is this AP's 15th season?
I mean, this
is that insane?
It is. And it's like I was looking at some of the things, some of the free agents, and you got Le'Veon Bell still out there. You got Lamar Miller out there. The Rams have said they're going to go ahead and ride with what's on their depth chart, but I clearly see them signing a running back. I can't see them not signing, one of these guys. It's just, I just would you give AP a shot? I mean,
not at my team, but I could see where. And again, as we talked, we're about to enter training camp. There's going to be at least one serious injury to somebody on some team, and they're going to be calling AP's agent going, all right, now we need you. And so none of these guys are sweating because things happen. Either people get hurt or they just don't perform well or they're not looking good, and the coaches start scrambling of, okay, we need to add something depth-wise here. And these aren't like linebackers. Those are not sexy positions. The running backs and wide receivers that are still looking for jobs are the ones that everybody's going to be coming to 2 weeks into training camp to just help. If nothing else, they'll bring them into training camp to motivate everyone else on the, to step their game up to make the roster.
And that's a lot of the things is I don't see AP as being one of those guys. I don't see Frank Gore coming in. I think if you brought in Adrian Peterson, a Le'Veon Bell, a Frank Gore, they're not going to be just training camp guys. These guys are going to ball.
No, but I will say this. I will say this. I tend to think of Le'Veon Bell as sort of a head case, as sort of a locker room issue, whereas Frank Gore has been nothing but strong character, good dude, good teammate. He may have an edge over those other two on getting a job just because he's going to bring the right attitude to your locker room, the hard work and the ethic and stuff that you want your younger players to see. I don't know if you'll get that from Le'Veon Bell. Peterson had some off the field things going on, but I've not heard any issues with him from a football standpoint and a locker room standpoint. So again, you may see character issues elevate or lower these guys and how quickly they get an offer, because some of these teams, what Ron Rivera has done with the Washington football team and with the players he's signed is he's really trying to elevate the culture there and change the culture. And as women, we know that culture needed to change for a whole lot of reasons.
Right.
And so it wouldn't surprise me if they picked up Frank Gore, if they picked up a quality dude like that to come help with that kind of a change in the locker room. Because he's not just a character guy. He's still got some production left in him. Probably not 22 carries a game, but 5 to 7 in an important situation when I need a fourth down and he's rested for 3, I'll give the ball to Frank Gore for 2 yards.
I would too. I thought the same thing. Le'Veon Bell's interesting just because, I think the guy's got good work ethics, but like I said, what does he do to a locker room? I think that's where you go behind there and pick up the phone and talk to Andy Reid, who was, and you talk to talk to Mike Tomlin, kind of see, what he kind of did up there with the Steelers. So, you kind of go off of that. So I think interesting divisions. And I think we pegged all the teams because I think as far as everything goes, we got our training camp picks in. It's going to be interesting to see which team's going to just take off with it, which team, that was recommended to win the division if they fall. Injuries, God help us, injuries and COVID. Let's just hope this stays away and doesn't plague this season. One of the other interesting things that you kind of hit on when we were talking tonight on what to talk about, and I kind of heard this, but I didn't kind of get into it a little bit until you brought it up, that the NFL announced that it's going to play. And I think you sent this to me as Lift Every Voice and Sing, commonly referred to as the Black National Anthem before every game. And so I kind of did research. It's almost like some fans like it, some fans don't. I've seen both, and I was just doing some research on it, and it seems like some fans know this is getting thrown in our face. Some fans says, oh, this is a step the NFL is making. It's just a PR ploy. What's your opinion on
you know what? I don't know. I don't want to I want to give the NFL credit. If they are legitimately trying, I would assume they've talked to the players and the players union and players reps, and I would assume that there were some representatives in that group of African-American players who gave them an opinion on this. If I remember correctly, Alicia Keys sang this song before the national anthem, before the Super Bowl, either last year or the year before. So it has been played at games in the past. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it was at a Super Bowl. And if this is something that they talked to those players about and the players thought it was a good idea, then cool, let's run with it. I don't have time for people who are going to get upset about a song that's going to be played 15 minutes before a snap is there, a coin is tossed. I always say coin costs, and then I have to stop and think about how to say it. I always mess it up. Before they flip the nickel and decide who's going to get the ball, like the people who are complaining will still be in line to get a beer while it's being played. They will never, ever hear it. I think in a league where the predominant race of the players is African-American, and they're the ones who are doing all the work that is making money for millionaires, if they think that playing this song is a good thing, 2 thumbs up. I have no issue with it. And I don't have time for people who are whining about something like this. It's not like you're going to take a timeout in the middle of the game and do something, right? This is all beforehand. If you don't like it, stay in the beer line until it's over, and then you can go sit in your seats.
I agree. Like I said, I hopefully it won't become a non-issue, but apparently they're going to do it. So we'll see how it goes. I did do something. I did. I asked, I have to tell you, I asked Michelle, who's commenting and kind of hanging with us here a little bit, if she ever owned a Kicker's jersey. All right. Now listen, this is what she puts. All right. That's what I asked her. This is what she puts to me.
I almost purchased a Dan Bailey jersey when he was with the Cowboys. He was our MVP. There are an awful lot of Phil Dawson jerseys at Cleveland Browns Stadium because for a lot of years, he was our MVP. He was who we franchise tagged. He has like the record for most points scored by a Brown. It's insane. I did order my Scottish Hammer jersey. As soon as it gets here, I'll wear it for one of our podcasts. But y'all made me feel like I needed to have a Kicker jersey, so I did order one.
And I miss Michelle so much on our podcast, and for you guys listening, Michelle and I always gave Dana a hell of a way to go with the U. So I got to push this because she just posted this to me, and Michelle, we miss you, and this is for you, baby, because that's what you and I are all about. So
I don't even like the U, but I love you, Michelle. So I'm gonna give you a U.
I had to do that for Dana.
I look like a moose with antlers.
She's awesome. So we'll wrap it up tonight with, like I said, with us it's easy because Kate and I could call quarterbacks all long. Kickers not so much. Not so much with me. So.
No, but I'll tell you, every kicker who missed the game-winning field goal last year, they got one job. And it's like, they're like offensive linemen. I don't want to hear your name during a game. If I hear the name of an offensive lineman, it means you've been flagged for something and now you're in trouble. I don't need to know who your kicker is unless he's missing things, and then watch out.
And the core of football, and we've always talked about it, is the center. Is your center and your line. I don't see too many linemen jerseys. You always see the sexy quarterbacks. You always see the wide receivers, the running backs. The offensive line, who is the nucleus of all what football is, the being of football.
I will say again, I talk about my Browns all the time because that's where I live, right? For the longest time, the Joe Thomas jersey as the guy who protects the quarterback was the best-selling jersey in town because we had 4 different quarterbacks every season. So there were no quarterback jerseys to buy. So everyone has got a number 72 Joe Thomas jersey around here.
That's true.
But you're right. There's very few linemen.
Big old linemen uniform, those uniform, and and there are some. Like I said, that's the core of your football teams. So, but I think we're going to wrap it up tonight, Kate. That's all I got. Again,
I think we did good.
I think we did great. I think we covered things. And Michelle, thank you so much for hanging with us. Defense. Oh, look, I got to show it because this is for you, Dave. This is for you, Dave. See, so No.
Offense puts butts in the seat. Defense wins championships.
Not anymore, baby. It's turned. NFL's turned. His offense is going to win championships.
We'll disagree on that.
Yes. So catch us next Tuesday night live. We'll have a special guest with us. I think all of us will be back, hopefully next week. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. We'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Bye-bye.